Hello, good morning, and welcome to TVC Breakfast. Let me be the one that says, thank God it's Friday. My name is Itoma Edu.
Thank God it's Friday. Good morning, and thank you for joining us wherever you're watching us from. Welcome to the show. I am Veronica Danik Boy.
And just the way we started the show is our mood this morning on this table. Thank God it's Friday. Good morning, Nigeria, and welcome. I am Ria Abdul.
At least away from the chaos going on around the world, we are happy to be here and happy to come with beautiful information for you, our audience. Thank God it's Friday once again. I'm Ibrahim Shita.
I love the way the show started,
away from the chaos. Today is even World Malaria Day, and it's interesting to see that we keep commemorating such days, despite the number of persons that suffer these attacks from malaria and still die as a result of the bites from mosquitoes causing malaria. But I believe that we're going to be doing more with addressing malaria issues and other issues around it. But today we have rightly pointed out that we're going to talk about the Fatigue Carnival, and also the defections politically, and then other stories that are trending now, and every other issues that we see to discuss on the papers. So let's begin with the story, where unions within the Nigerian Meteorological Agency have suspended their industrial action until the 13th of May, pending the outcome of the intervention by the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development. The minister had a closed-door meeting with NiMet officials after the strike disrupted operations of some airlines. Uloma Onyemachi has details.
It was a tense start to the day at the Nigerian Meteorological Agency headquarters in Abuja, as workers took to the streets chanting solidarity songs and demanding government action over a list of grievances. Workers, led by their union leaders, called attention to unpaid salaries, poor working conditions, and a host of other unresolved issues. At the NiMet headquarters, union leaders told TVC News that the agency's services had been completely paused for the day, a move they warned could compromise aviation safety.
We have 45 months arrears. Out of that 45 months arrears, last year we started at 13 to pay. They pay us only 30%.
We are dying. So I think our family are dying, and we don't. So government also should be worried about our welfare. That was why we are here.
With that warning in mind, TVC News visited the domestic terminal of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. Despite the strike, activities appeared normal. Passengers were being attended to by ground staff of the airline operators, but there was still a bit of uncertainty, particularly for Air Peace passengers. But the federal government is not sitting idle. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, convened a high-level meeting with the Permanent Secretary, heads of aviation agencies, and leaders of key unions in the sector.
The minimum wage, based on even our budget head now, since it's a statutory matter, it has been approved, there's no point to start looking for cash back on it. The shortfall of 9 months, including the 30 persons that were captured but were not paid. We are both on the same page. There will be a small committee chaired by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry. On the other issue, there's on that issue of 40% peculiar allowance also.
Union representatives at the meeting pushed for a lasting resolution that addresses the core demands of meteorological staff.
Out of the demands, we have right now, as I'm speaking to you, he has attended to it.
With the intervention of the federal government and a committee set up, there is hope that the well-being of NiMet staff are prioritized, and in turn, Nigeria's airspace will be protected. Uloma Onyemachi, TVC News, Abuja.
All right, it's sad to see that the NiMet workers had to embark on this strike before they could gain that attention from our government, especially through the Minister of Aviation, talking about Festus Keyamo, senior advocate. And what they are demanding is just their rights. There's been an implementation of a new minimum wage, and they are asking why this hasn't reflected in their salary packages. It's all about their welfare. Oh, yeah. And right now they're also talking about the fact that it has to be looked at holistically, especially because of the peculiarities. And so government should, push that. May the 13th is just by the corner. But do we have to get to this point before we realize that steps have to be taken?
It is really unfortunate that people that wake up every morning, go to work, put in their day's work, will go back home, and at the end of the month, there's nothing to show for it. And these are parents, these are especially the men, because the men by nature have to be the ones that put the food on the table, provide for the food to be on the table. And then this doesn't happen. And yet the next morning you're hurrying to work and your wife will look at you and say, what's wrong with this guy?
Going there again.
What's wrong with this guy? 45 months arrears? That is really bad. I just hope that this intervention will bring out something positive and get these people to get what they are due and all the arrears paid. They deserve it.
Well, the minister, that's Festus Keyamo, has said that he's going to speak with the president personally and perhaps to influence, to ensure that the arrears are paid, their welfare package is well taken care of. But then, do we need that?
Well, for me, I'll say, first of all, I am happy that they have called off the strike, because we know that the NiMet is very pivotal when we talk about aviation. Without them, it is not safe for any plane to fly. And we saw how passengers were stranded for 2 days that they had the strike. We saw passengers stranded, planes could not fly and all of that. But the question is, it shouldn't get to what it got to. Like you said, if anybody is working, you expect to be paid. I do not know why in Nigeria we let it get to issues that there are so many arrears that people have to go on strike. In the first place, they needed to be treated well, that they didn't even have to go on strike. But also, it has happened. What I'll say is that I'm happy that it was swiftly done. They had a meeting with them and they called off the strike because a lot of passengers were stranded as well. Now, calling off the strike, I wish that is something that they will implement for a long time. Not that they'll pay them for some time. After some time, they stop paying them and they go on another strike.
No, well, Ibrahim, before you come on board, yes, this was there was a swift intervention, but a lot of persons, for instance, Alan Onyema, lost a lot of monies. People paid monies, and he was even saying, oh, return their monies if need be, because I do not want blood on my hands. When you look at running businesses in Nigeria and these kinds of things, side by side, your contribution, I wonder how we need to move out of this quagmire, if I may use that word.
Well, if you talk about NiMet, because just like you said yesterday, not everyone really know about NiMet. Well, you just get to hear about them in the news. But the beautiful thing is that they do not only work for they do not talk about interagency collaboration with the aviation alone. They do for maritime and they do for agriculture. And we know how critical these sectors are to our economy. So if you're now having people who are working, doing all lot of things to ensure that their own agency works very well so that it impacts positively on other agencies that depend on them, then it goes to show that we need to treat them better. And then I love the fact that it was swift, but as you said, May the 13th is just, a stone's throw. So they need to work around, think of the reforms, think of what they need to do so that we won't have to be having other areas, aviation sectors, also, having to lose much of their revenues, which they plan to generate, in the long run.
Absolutely, because for me, that was a major concern. As a business person and as a country that is looking to attract investors in every sector, be it aviation, whichever way, when we have these kinds of things and people need to, you say, cancel every flight. I'm also looking at the funds that I am investing into the country. So it is important that, it is important that we do not allow these kinds of things happen. Let's address issues as quickly as possible. If we have agreed, okay, we are having 70,000 naira as the minimum wage, why is it not being implemented? Where is the management of NiMet? What are they even saying at this point, especially with regards to their arrears and every other package that they have spoken about? How are businesses going to survive all of this?
Just before we move to the next thing, where is what are our priorities as a country?
Absolutely.
It's as if every sector in this country has had reason to go on strike at one time or another. And it doesn't paint a very good picture of our country. Where is our priority? Right now, it's politics everywhere. Everybody is talking about politics, and NiMet is suffering. There are other smaller agencies, or maybe even
medical
big ones,
doctors.
that have not been taken care of.
That's why a majority of them, you know,
and
left the country.
It goes beyond just all of these agencies. Just as you mentioned, customers who also, apart from agencies losing money, customers who plan to travel and all of that. So it will affect a whole lot of things. So it is very, very critical to our economy and the well-being of the society. And
what I just want to add to it, I feel like as they've put the mandate right now that their money should be given to them, I always speak about implementation for a long time, not a short period. Because sometimes we give them short relief and next thing we see, we're doing it again. And that's what I want to just say to them, that please, if this implementation is going to be done, let it be done for a long period of time. There are some sectors that are very important that when they go on strike, everybody suffers. And we saw it happen when they went on strike. For 2 days, people could not fly. And people definitely need to do their businesses. So it doesn't really just affect only the airlines. It affects people as well that have bought tickets. How many people? Okay, we know that Dr. Alan said that there will be refunds. How many airlines will give people refunds? So
not all, these are questions that give refunds because they are also weighing their options.
It will be against the NCA if they do not.
But we know how it goes.
Good when we know that we know an airline that is willingly, without having to drag them to court, servicing their customers. And I think everyone should borrow a leaf from this.
The NiMet personnel or people have said that they actually called off the strike because they respect the Minister of Aviation. It's out of respect that they did that. Please keep holding that respect. And wait before May the 13th to see what government will do. Government, please, do not engage. Let me finish. Because I travel to, and I know that I have plans of traveling. And then I know people who are meant to come into the country, even within this period. So it's important that I beg them on the behalf of these people and myself,
But let me say, to whom respect is given, much is expected. So we expect a lot from the government. So please, we're hoping that
how many deals have gone bad, how much money has gone down the drain, how many business deals have failed just because of
as a
this
result of that, because most people couldn't travel.